this lesson will be rationalize radical expressions. You'll be able to rationalize the denominator and simplify a radical expression. So the conjugate means the opposite signs in front of the radical. So we have same signs in front of the rational number, but opposite in front of the radical. So this is used to simplify, eliminates our radical expressions. So our conjugate of 3 plus square root of 2 is 3 minus the square root of 2. Extraneous solutions just means it's a solution that we've gotten from the equation, but it doesn't work in the original problem. So you've got to check for those extraneous solutions. So our steps to solve, we isolate the radical sign on one side of the equation, we square each side of the equation, and then isolate the variable or factor the equation and set the equations equal to 0. Remember to check for your extraneous solutions. So in this example, the conjugate is 5 plus the square root of 2. So I multiply the top and the bottom by 5 plus the square root of 2. And I get 15 plus 3 square root 2. On this I'm FOILing. And it gets me 25 plus 5 square root 2 minus 5 square root 2 minus the square root of 4. So I combine like terms, and I get 15 plus 3 square root 2 over 25 minus 2, because the square root of 4 is 2, and so I get 15 plus 3 square root 2 over 23. In the second one, my conjugate is 3 square root of 3 plus 5. Then I do that on both of them. Square root of 3 plus 5. That gets me the square root of 9 plus 5 square root 3. On the bottom, I'm again doing the double distributive property. And I get the square root of 9 plus 5 square root 5 minus 3 minus 5 square root 3 minus 25. So that's 3 plus 5 square root 3 over 3 minus 25. So my answer is 3 plus 5 square root 3 over negative 22. All right, simplifying this expression, we're going to change this to the square root of 12 plus the square root of 1 over the square root of 3. I'm going to multiply this one by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3 in order to rationalize that denominator. I get the square root of 12 plus the square root of 3 over the square root of 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. So I'm going to simplify both of those. So simplify this one and this one. I get 2 square root 3 plus the square root of 3 over 3. Now I need common denominators. So I'm going to multiply this and get 6 square root 3 over 3 plus 3 square root 3, no, plus square root of 3 over 3. And that gets me 7 square root 3 over 3. All right, the second one, I need to rationalize the denominator again. So I do that by changing this to the square root of 15 minus the square root of 3 over the square root of 5. I multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 5. And that gets me the square root of 15 minus the square root of 15 over 5. I got to get common denominators, so 5 square root 15 over 5 minus the square root of 15 over 5. So that's like 1. So that gets me 4 square root 15 over 5. All right, if I'm solving each equation, that just means I'm going to square both sides, and that gets me x equals 25. Again, squaring both sides, 7x equals 49. Divide both sides by 7, we get x equals 7. This one again, square both sides, and I get 4 square root of 4b squared equals 64. So that's 4 times 2b equals 64. So that's 8b equals 64. So b equals 8. So an expression that contains a square root sign is called a radical expression. And what does it mean to rationalize the denominator? It means to multiply by a common denominator so that your denominator is not a radical. It is a rational number.